the trauma ICU, burn ICU. And when I started seeing repeat customers coming back in to the ICU settings, like, this is so not right. There is a whole lifestyle problem going on. I thought, well, if I were a better educator, maybe that would help. So I got a degree in education, found out it's not a knowing problem, it's a doing problem. At the same time, I transferred out of the ICU and into a chronic pain clinic, so a chronic pain management clinic setting. And there we definitely had repeat customers. They would come and come and come and come, and then they'd stop for a year and come back. And some of it, they were expected to come for several visits. Sometimes after 10 years or so, you sort of thought they might have a grip on how to do this at home. So I really became convinced it's a doing problem. People have trouble doing what they sort of know they need to do. So I quit nursing and went into coaching, and specifically into wellness coaching, which is all about doing really what you know. So I got to keep all the medical side and now use it with a different approach, a more proactive health and wellness approach that our medical system just doesn't support very well. It's great for acute problems, but not so good for the lifestyle changes. So now I get to share information and coach people through healthy lifestyle behaviors. And we are going to talk about stress and the scale, kind of tying together probably a lot of what you hear, you will have heard in the previous 3 talks, hopefully. But there's a lot of new research out about stress, about weight, about metabolism, about fat and obesity in general. It's really, no pun intended, it's a huge topic right now in research. So we will go through stress and the scale. Really, you are probably going to hear a few things that you didn't know before, but what I really want you to get out of it is piecing it together. Oh, that's me. That's what I do. That's why I do that and feel that way. And then making a game plan of what will you do now that you know how stress really does affect your weight. So it's all about making a game plan, picturing yourself doing it, making a plan for making the changes. So if you have questions as we go, stop me. I will try to keep the content part short so you're not stressed about getting back to work. But I will definitely stick around and do questions and help you strategize if you need to talk about how would I do that? How does that affect this? So we'll piece it all together. Talking about stress, we're going to talk about chronic stress, and I'll explain why in just a minute of how we're wired. It's chronic stress that is really the one that tears us up, not so much the acute stress. We are designed perfectly to handle acute stress, but that's not really what we have in our life anymore. We will talk about those stressors. Stress and fat, specifically that connection, and then how do you manage your stress? What can you do to deal with all the stress and offset some of the stress fat connection? So I won't leave you hanging just, okay, if you are stressed, you should gain weight. Talk to you about what you can do. With that, I'd like to start with a little relaxation exercise. My whole point with relaxation and stress management is you can do it in 2 minutes. You can make a difference in your neuroendocrine system in 2 minutes or even less than 2 minutes. Because we always say, I don't have time to manage my stress. Shrink it down. You might not have time for 20 or 30 minutes of sitting meditating, but you probably have 30 seconds to do some breathing, 90 seconds to do a relaxation exercise. So I will take you through one now. You will not like every relaxation exercise you encounter, and you need to know what ones you don't like so that you can then find the ones you do like. The ones you like this year and work well for you now may not work well for you in 2 years. Our stress changes, we change. You need to stay fluid with building your toolbox of stress management techniques so that you always have something to pull from. So what I do at home is not necessarily what I can take on the road. Like I like my lava lamp, I like petting my rabbits at home. They don't travel with me. So when I'm out, I need to know what else can I do when I'm standing right here in the parking lot or in a traffic jam. So with this one, you're going to visualize relaxing your forehead. With a lot of the guided imagery and visualization types, it is often easier if you close your eyes or look down at the floor in your lap. It cuts out a lot of distractions. So if you'd like to close your eyes, you may. And just start with a slow, full, easy breath. Breathing in through your nose, feeling your breath go in, and then let your breath out slowly and gently, either through your nose or your mouth. And just for a moment, notice your breath. Just follow the rhythm. And now shift your attention to your forehead. Let your attention focus on relaxing the muscles of your forehead. Concentrate on allowing the muscles to become smooth and soft. Keep bringing your focus back to your forehead and that the muscles are becoming smooth. You can feel your forehead relaxing. Now shift your attention to around your eyes and let the muscles around your eyes soften. Noticing how the muscles in your forehead and around your eyes can be soft and smooth. Take another full, refreshing breath in and out. And as you're ready, you can open your eyes. So how did that feel? Weird? Calming? Usually we just aren't used to taking a moment and just really focusing on one thing, letting our muscles relax, following our breath, concentrating on smoothing out our forehead. When our mind can zoom in like that on one thing and keep coming back to it, that's when your neurochemicals can start to shift. And we will get into that. So that is a powerful tool that you have. And this is not a powerful tool. So the reason we respond to stress is because we are still wired like cavemen. Neurochemically, we are still set up electrically, just like the cavemen. If you think about their lifestyle, they had, it was a hard life. They had to hunt and forage for their food, but they'd have periods where it wasn't necessarily a big attack on their safety. Then they'd have an attack by the lion, or they were going out to shoot the woolly mammoth for a feast. They would gear up and have this huge cascade of chemicals, and they'd get in the fight or flight mode. Their muscles were full of blood, they were pumping, they were running. They killed the animal or fought it off, either had a feast or went back to the cave, sat around a campfire for a couple weeks talking about stories. Yeah, you ran really fast. Yeah, I like the way you converted in that way. Women were taking care of the kids, but they had a calm period where they could settle back down. Then a couple weeks later, another either hunt or an attack by another animal. So they had these ups and downs, these big bursts of scary events that they had to respond to. We, on the other hand, don't have those big events, and we don't have an opportunity to respond with our body, to run or fight or fight. So we have stressors like someone cuts us off in traffic. We can't do anything physical other than some hand gestures, which isn't actually helpful for us. But we don't respond by burning off that energy. We're late for an appointment. We're sitting in an appointment waiting for someone who's late to take us in. We don't have a way to physically respond. We go to the grocery store and the bag boy puts the watermelon on top of the bread. We don't have a way to respond to that. We just keep stuffing it inside and stuffing it down and building. Our chemicals are always elevated because we don't have a nice big release for the fight or flight response. So these are some of our current stressors. We've got the fat, the muffin top that doesn't fit in our pants, and then we can stress about all the money we wasted on the clothes that don't fit us anymore. We have financial problems. We have a calendar that is just too full. We have meetings to go to, coworkers, family members. We've got the holidays coming up, which can be too much of a good thing, whether it's cookies, food, family, together time, happiness, the forced happiness. We've got laundry. We've got time problems. Our schedules are full. We're crunched. We have no breathing room in there. Our food is a stressor these days. And you might have a little bit too much work piling up at your desk. Those are our current stressors. And we don't have a physical release for those. So some of the stressors also are food choices. When you're living from a vending machine, you're not giving your body the nutrition that it really needs, and the metabolites breaking down the poor food choices contribute to the inflammation and the stress process within your body. Fatigue is a huge stressor, and it's almost a competition sport in our culture of who can sleep the least and still function, who gets up the earliest, who goes to bed the latest, who had less than 5 hours of sleep. It's not good for our health, but we accept it as normal. These little daily aggravations are our chronic stressors. But we take them as this is normal, this is life now, this is what I have to do, this is what all my peers are doing. So you've got environmental toxins that can be from your food, it can be from your flooring, your carpeting, your paint, pollution. We get those from every method. Dieting is a chronic stressor. The stress, we'll talk specifically about this one, but the stress of calorie restriction and fretting about your food and what you're deprived of, that is a stressor on the body. Chronic illness, and that can be diabetes, that can be psoriasis, that can be a bowel disorder, it can be migraines, it can be arthritis. Any of the chronic conditions take a toll on your body. Feeling rushed and overwhelmed, caregiving, inactivity. Inactivity is a big problem in our culture. Obesity, technology, we have too much technology, we're always available. We take our phones on vacation, we think about work when we're on vacation or at home, we think about home when we're here at work. We just have too much access. And then the media, we get too much negative information from the media. We're bombarded with information. What do we do with it all? Do I think about it? Do I file it? Do I act on it? We just have too much coming at us. Clutter, which can be things, it can be thoughts in your head, it can be too many commitments, social commitments in the calendar, it can be emotional clutter. We just have a lot of junk sometimes in our lives that takes up space and causes us stress. Rudeness, lack of connection with people. The cavemen had that opportunity to sit around the campfire and share stories. Our grandparents had the opportunity to sit on their front porch and share lemonade with each other. We don't so much, because we're living in our cars, rushing around from place to place. We don't have that time for connection, for our community. Finances, traffic, and our negative thoughts. And this is just a very partial list. But our negative thoughts are a source of our stress. We have a mind, body, they are connected. The mind affects the body affects the mind. We can get caught in a cycle of our thoughts and just escalate our stress by simply what we're thinking. And we'll talk about our thoughts again. Thoughts or questions on the chronic stressors? Did any of those things you just took for granted and never considered that they could have been a stressor? Do you participate in more than 2 of the things that were out there? It's part of our lives. Okay. So the breathing technique is, you've always got your breath with you. It's simple to do, it's free, it's portable. One way to do it is called the 4-4-8 technique. Doesn't matter so much about the pace and the exact numbers as the concept. So the concept with this is you take a slow, full breath in through your nose, unless you cannot breathe through your nose, but your nose is more relaxing, it's going to fire up your parasympathetic nervous system faster. And the parasympathetic nervous system is the opposite of the sympathetic, which is the fight or flight. So parasympathetic is sometimes called feed and breathe or rest and digest. It's the slower path. And we need both, but we probably, most of us need a little boost to the parasympathetic side. So the slow breath in through your nose, you should feel your belly move, you should feel your ribs move. So as you breathe in, you want to picture your breath going down to your belly. You want to hold it, a pause at the top. And then you want to exhale so that your exhale is longer than your inhale. So the 4-4-8, say inhale for a count of 4, hold for 4, exhale for a count of 8. Doesn't matter if it's 2-2-5, 3-3-6, just so that the exhale is long and slow and gentle. Gentle like how you blow bubbles through a wand. If you blow too fast, you lose the bubbles. So just try it. Inhaling gently and slowly, picturing your belly, feeling your belly move. With a pause at the top, and letting your breath out slowly and fully. 3 to 4 times of that is enough to trigger your parasympathetic nervous system and start boosting that. You just don't want to breathe so fast and focus on the inhale that you hyperventilate. So really focusing on the exhale can help prevent the hyperventilation. Most of us don't even breathe with our bellies. We breathe like little puffy deep breaths from up here. And if you think about how you breathe when you're startled, if that's a sympathetic nervous system type of breath, something's happening, I need to respond. And it's a little quick intake, usually through our mouths. The opposite is what you want. So you've got one technique to take with you on your Thanksgiving vacation. Your two main hormones with stress, you've got adrenaline and cortisol. And these are squirted out instantaneously, and there's other chemicals involved as well. But adrenaline beats cortisol out by a few nanoseconds. And adrenaline's main purpose is to get you ready to run. So that is what lets you run away from your threat. Adrenaline is the one that gets your heart beating, your muscles pumping, your blood pumping, your muscles full of the blood, your deep breathing, what you need to run or fight. It peaks quickly, it comes back down pretty quickly. So when you're in that mode, you're not digesting well. Your blood is all being shunted to running and fighting. It's not a time when you're going to be procreating, it's not a time when you're going to be having a feast or eating or digesting anything well. But the parasympathetic side is when you do digest well. It's not when you've got the blood in your muscles. And that's why infertility, I'm going to stay on this one, cortisol, sorry. That's why infertility is such a chronic problem, or a pronounced problem with people under a lot of stress. Because the sympathetic nervous system doesn't allow your reproductive system to work effectively. So cortisol is the other neurochemical that is released, and its job is to make you refuel after you just ran away from your stressor, from your predator. So it causes you to want to eat, and it causes you to want to eat the sugary, fatty, high-calorie foods to replenish your energy store. Think about how a caveman, he didn't have access to 7-Eleven on every corner. It was a bigger deal for him to replenish. So the cortisol stays elevated for a longer time. Think about how often you have a stressor. Probably every couple minutes. You get an email, you get a phone call, you get a bill in the mail, you get a red light. Your cortisol never has a chance to drop back down. It stays elevated. So you become this eating machine on a feeding frenzy, ready to plow through anything to get at some sugar and fatty foods. So cortisol specifically will raise your blood sugar. Anyone who is a diabetic knows that stress of any form, whether it's emotional, physical, mental, will raise your blood sugar. So cortisol is what's responsible for raising your blood sugar. It makes you hungry. It makes you have sugar cravings. It causes your hormones to be out of balance. It specifically depresses your thyroid hormone. That's why so many people with a lot of stress think that they have a hypothyroid, low-functioning thyroid gland. Your thyroid gland may be functioning okay. It may be that you're just not secreting enough hormone because everything is damped down. This is where you get some of the adrenal fatigue coming in, and the growth hormone is suppressed, and testosterone can be suppressed. So the three of those make your body not good at building itself back up, but it's good at tearing itself apart. So you're losing muscle mass, your metabolism slows, and you're not rebuilding. Muscle, as opposed to fat, muscle keeps your metabolism humming along. It's much more metabolically active than fat. Fat, however, does secrete its own hormones that just perpetuates this cycle. So you've got hormone imbalances. Insulin, which is also a hormone, you become less sensitive to it. So you become insulin resistant, or you have less insulin sensitivity. Insulin's job is, it is squirted out by the pancreas when your body senses sugar coming into the blood. So as your blood sugar level rises after you eat, your insulin comes out. The insulin's job is to take each little molecule of glucose into the cell. It's like an escort service. The glucose can't get in the cell door by itself. It has to be brought in. So insulin basically goes on strike, and it floats around in your blood, which it says, I'm not working. You have just worn me out. I'm not working anymore, or I'm only going to work partially. So your insulin doesn't work the way it's supposed to. You have increased belly fat, you have increased liver fat, and then you get all your triglyceride numbers messed up. Your liver is a storage port for glucose, and that is where you're supposed to pull from when you haven't eaten in a while and you need some energy. So that whole system is skewed. You get the muscle breakdown, and your fat is slower. You're slower to lose fat. So your body holds on to fat, it stores fat thinking that you need it because you're in a constant state of I need to fight a woolly mammoth. So it stores the fat for you conveniently around your belly, and then it doesn't want to let it go. So it's very, very hard to lose weight. So it's like your body working against you. Oh, and then I love the picture of that the man in the string. You are caught up in this web. You start stressing about your weight going up, you start stressing about your blood sugar rising, and it just perpetuates a cycle, and they each affect each other, and you feel trapped in there. Alright, just take it in. So do a little self-check, see if you're having some stress, grab your belly fat. If you have belly fat, you may need to think about if some of this coming from stress. Now what we'll do here at lunchtime. And the elephant in the room, obviously, is that I am often asked to talk about this while you're eating lunch. And people are like, oh, she's going to look at what I'm eating. This is really awkward. So I'm not at all looking at what you're eating. So fatigue in particular is linked to your stress. You've got it causes insulin resistance. It causes your ghrelin to go up. Which makes your appetite go up, and it causes your satiety to go down, which is reflective. So you never feel full. You're constantly looking for food, but you never get that full feeling. And you may notice that if you are short of sleep for a couple days. I know I used to notice it long before the research about ghrelin and leptin came out, like decades before. When I had to work a 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. shift, I was a mess. All I wanted to do was eat. I had headaches and felt sick all the time, but all I wanted to do was eat, and I never felt full. And when this research came out, I was like, wow, I knew that. I didn't know what was causing it, but I felt that. So you may notice on the days that you don't get enough sleep, you are hungrier, and you are less satisfied with what you do eat. That is a chemical reason. With the sleep, some interesting statistics. If you sleep fewer than 5 hours per night for a week, you have immeasurable insulin resistance. Your sensitivity to insulin is measurably dropped. With just losing one night's sleep, your appetite is, or even a few hours of a night's sleep, your appetite is noticeably changed. Your ghrelin goes up, your leptin goes down. 3 hours sleep loss can lead to a 4 to 5% weight gain. So who is planning on tackling the holidays by doing more and sleeping less? Hopefully no one. So you're going to come out, you're going to hit the new year with a little bit more weight to gain. So one of your best tips for the holidays, from Halloween to New Year's, make sure you get enough sleep, make sure you eat good foods, and make sure you move. So, next one. Dieting, when you have just one little pea or one little lettuce leaf on your plate, or these days it's almost kale. Everyone wants you to eat one kale leaf as your whole meal and pretend that you're satisfied. That is stressful, because all you think about is what you can't have, and that gets into our subconscious mind versus our conscious mind. Our mind doesn't know which we're trying not to think about, because if we're thinking about donuts, but we're thinking, I can't eat any donuts because I'm dieting this week, your mind just sees the donuts and it starts finding them for you everywhere. So you're stressing about that food that you can eat, and it's probably not what you want to eat. You're stressing about what you can't eat. And then you've got the calorie restriction, and your body is in a state of starvation and doesn't have the nutrition and the calories it needs. So both of those mechanisms fire up your cortisol, and then it also changes your normal cortisol rhythm. So cortisol, having too much is a problem, but having your rhythm out of sync is another problem. And the two of those together make a bigger mess. So cortisol is partially what wakes us up in the morning. We normally peak at about 4 or 5 a.m., and we normally have a drop about 4 p.m. That drop, some people notice, is their afternoon slump. They go to the candy machine or the coffee machine, but that slump is what is starting to get you ready for bed. Because the way we were created, we slept when the sun went down. Now we just turn on the lights and we stay up 6 or 8 more hours trying to do things. So the new math is 1 plus 1 does not equal 2. When you combine calorie restriction and sleep deprivation, so you've got a dieter who's not getting enough sleep, it's exponential weight gain. When you combine caffeine with your stress, your cortisol goes up also, exponentially. So when you are stressed and you think what you need is that one more shot of espresso to help you through the evening, that is really not what you need. you need a quick relaxation exercise, or you need to pack it in and go to bed. So the new math is that you can exponentially aggravate your cortisol levels. Sad news. So that is stress and what it's doing to your body. What can you do about that? Relaxation is your best weapon. And these things are not relaxation. When I go into Allegheny General Hospital and I just roam around the units and I do little bitty relaxation exercises with the primarily nurses and doctors, but it can be any employee. A lot of them will say, well, you know, I've got a relaxation practice. I go home and watch TV. I go home and have a vodka or a beer. That's not actually relaxation. That's avoiding. And some people say, oh, you know, I can sit on the couch with my two best friends. They're named Ben and Jerry. That might be delicious, but that is not relaxing to your nervous system. So relaxation is not zoning out. It's not walling off your emotions. It's not drinking them away. And it's not chain smoking or doing some other detrimental behavior to avoid feeling whatever is bothering you. Relaxation is very, very focused and very purposeful, mindful activity. Your brain can actually relax when it is focused on one thing. Think about how many things you normally have in your head. I need to do this, I need to have that for dinner, I need to stop and pick this up, I wonder what the dog is doing right now, I wonder. That is not relaxing. You need to be able to learn to put those thoughts aside for a second at a time. As you practice, you can put them to the side a little bit longer. You can think about them later. And then you gradually expand your time to a few seconds, to a minute, to maybe 10 minutes of where you can stay focused on something. It's like when you're doing a hobby and you get lost in time and you're in the zone. You're being very mindful about what you're doing, and that is very relaxing to your body. So it feels so good to have your hobbies. So mindfulness, interesting statistic, only 10% of the time are our thoughts in the here and now. Means 90% of the time we're in the past or the future, worrying about something that never happened, being afraid of something that might happen, rehashing something that happened 10 years ago, 10 minutes ago. We're not right here. When we can be right here, our neuroendocrine system can calm down. So you can be mindful doing almost anything. You can mindfully wash your hands. You would feel the water. You would see the water coming out of the faucet. You'd feel the temperature. You'd feel how it hits your hand. You would see how it hits your hand when the drops roll off. You'd feel the soap, how slick it is. You'd smell the soap. You'd see the bubbles. Then you watch the bubbles go down the drain as you rinse. Again, feeling the water, watching the water run over your hands. And then as you dry your hands, you're noticing the texture of the towel or the heat of the dryer. 20 seconds is all it takes to wash your hands thoroughly. You have to wash your hands anyway at some point. Try doing it mindfully. Try doing something that you normally already do, whether it's brushing your teeth, getting into your car, peeling potatoes. I had one doctor go through a mind-body workshop, and she told me later, she said, I have to tell you, I peeled potatoes last night, and it was wonderful. And she had this group of residents following her, and they were all looking at her like, you are insane. She goes, no, guys, you gotta listen to this. I peeled potatoes and I was present. I peeled potatoes and I paid attention to peeling potatoes. She said it was the best meal I ever made. She said, I totally love doing it, and I feel so different for having peeled potatoes. So it can be anything. It can be ironing. A lot of people say vacuuming is good for them because they can see the lines, they can see that the carpet is clean, you can tell that you finished it. So it's just something that you can do mindfully. It could be eating. And eating is very, very difficult to do very many minutes of it mindfully. But try taking the first 2 bites of your food mindfully. Try just sitting down and noticing your food. Notice the colors, the textures, think about where it came from, think about, do you like this food, what does it remind you of? And then smell it as you bring a bite up, and put a bite in your mouth and feel it first in your mouth, and see if you have a taste yet. And then chew it and swallow it, and notice the taste for a moment before you put the next bite in. So try doing that with even just 2 or 3 bites of your food. See if you enjoy it more. See if you feel more satisfied. Or see if you find out that you don't like that food at all. Sometimes, especially with fast food, we eat it so quickly we don't realize that we don't like it until we slow down and really taste it. So eating mindfully can also help put you in a more parasympathetic state, in a more relaxed state, so your digestion works better and you absorb more nutrients, and you also metabolize the food more efficiently, so you're not storing as much fat. Excuse me. So you can not only enjoy your food more, but it can help you manage your weight, and you eat more slowly. When you are paying attention, you tend to eat less. So, what was the last one? Ways to manage your stress. Taking this home. You've always got your breathing. Meditation is an option, and meditation is not sitting with a blank mind for 4 hours. Meditation is being mindful. It's focusing on something. You could go walking and do a walking meditation where you are just paying attention to the rhythm of how your arms and legs move, hearing your feet, feeling them hit the ground. You could knit. You could do prayer mindfully. Anything that has a rhythm to it, whether it's a physical rhythm or like a poem type rhythm, can help calm your mind. Guided imagery is an option. I did this summer. I wrote my first book, and I recorded a relaxation CD. And the relaxation exercises are designed for people who are either too busy to sit and do a full practice of 10, 20, 30 minutes, or for the person very new to relaxation who it freaks them out to think I would have to sit still for 5 minutes. So each exercise on there is only 2 to 6 minutes long. And there's a variety of different types in there. Some involve your body more than others. But yoga is a great mindfulness practice, a great way that you can relax. It has a mind-body connection built right in. Being mindful and practicing gratitude. Practicing gratitude is a huge stress reliever. It also boosts your positivity, so it changes your thought process and puts you in a more positive frame of mind, which makes everything function better and more smoothly. In 2 minutes, what can you do? Think about whether you are primarily visual, auditory, or tactile. And then try to find something you could do for 2 minutes, or even less. Visual people might like watching the clouds, my lava lamp, watching a fish tank, maybe looking at a picture of a place or a person that you really love. Auditory people might like listening to nature sounds. If you go outside and close your eyes, you can hear more. Taking away one sense cuts some of the distractions, and you can actually hear more. Right now, if you go outside, it's the jackhammer across the street that you hear, so maybe do it at home. Listening to music can be for the auditory people. Swinging or rocking, anything with a rhythm. Swimming also can be very relaxing. Having a scented candle, sipping hot tea, doing stretches. And some of these you can adapt and do at your desk. You can do it at the workplace. So think about for a minute what you would put in your toolbox. What would you try? Knowing that you might not like it, but you don't know that until you try it. It's like eating peas with a child. So your thoughts so far? We are almost done. Your thought does not need to be, oh my God, are we just at the middle? Yeah.
You talked about cortisol a lot, and there's a cortisone out there.
I'm sorry, a what?
Cortisone?
Cortisone? What is it, a drink?
A drug.
Okay.
Like a diet pill. I know I don't advocate for diet pills, but I'm saying that you talk about cortisol being a stress hormone, increasing belly fat, etc. And then as we walk through the stores, we hear you say, oh, cortisol, oh, here's cortisone, and then it'll actually decrease my cortisol increase, and then that cures it all. Do you know anything about cortisol?
I do not. That sounds like a very American approach. Let me have a pill for that, please.
Yeah.
So cortisone, I do not know anything about. I do not know. I will definitely have to look at that.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's supposed to work.
Yeah, I don't know the way it works. I just know that it does exist, and it's along the same thought process you're talking about, because they're saying that's the fast transfer, right? So.
The methods that I'm talking about, I know don't have side effects. I will look into that because I don't know anything
I'm
about
all
it.
about your methods, but I know I've seen it before. It's curious what your thoughts are.
I don't even see that stuff sometimes because I'm so not looking for it. I'll have to go through the grocery store more carefully. Anything else? Any
You
other
should
thoughts?
mindfully go through how
I should mindfully go shopping. Actually, if you shop your grocery store in reverse order of how you normally go, you do notice more things. We just get in a habit, a rhythm of going the same place, reaching out at the same point. going backwards, it helps you see it differently.
Try telling your wife to do that. Go to this point. That doesn't go over well.
You can shock separately. You don't want to stress it out.
No, I'm there to push it hard.
Any thoughts, questions, comments? Yeah.
The calming voice, your voice is very calming, like.
Thank you. So my kids do not think that my voice is calming. They think it's actually, they think it's hypocritical of me to go places and teach relaxation. Like, don't these people know that you yell? I'm not yelling at them. That's it for you, my darling.
I think that's relaxing, is listening to a calming voice, and it's.
As you play with this and find what you like, you do need to, like if you know that you like guided imagery, you like having a voice walk you through a scenario or a progressive muscle relaxation, you need to find the voice that works for you, because not all voices will. Some will just get on your nerves. And others go, it's like, oh, I could. There was a woman, when I did some training from Harvard, the Henry Benson Institute, some of us at ATH got to do training through them. There was this one woman, her voice, she taught a lot on the program. Her voice was so soothing. A friend and I had a recording of her. She'd given us some recordings. And we were talking, like if you listen to that recording of Peg, and she's like, yeah, I got through all of them. And they were saying, what was she talking about in some? I don't know. She actually could have been reading the grocery list. I was just so relaxed, I wasn't even paying attention to what she said.
Is that your book on audio?
It is not, but I will be doing that.
It's an idea.
Well, the book is Wellness Made Simple. The book is not about relaxation. It's about how you sleep and your stress and your eating and your happiness and stuff all fit together. The relaxation exercises are on audio. So what you can do, definitely move more. Have a physical release when you are feeling stressed. Do you need to go for a walk? Do you need to make a fist? Do you need to drop and do 10 push-ups? Do you need to jump up and down 5 times? Give your body some physical way to let it off. And that starts getting your blood moving, which can transport the cortisol more quickly to your kidneys, so you can excrete it. I mean, there's a reason why movement helps calm us down. Eat mindfully, stop the dieting, check your nutrition, put in whatever good foods you can, get enough sleep, find a relaxation practice, and breathe. So those tips you can do. I leave you with the question of what is your next step? What are you going to do with the information? So I went into coaching so that I wasn't just spewing information. Really, how do you make the next step? What does it look like to you? What tiny little step can you take that leads you in the direction of managing your stress and managing your fat? So we talked about that stress-fat connection and things that you can do. There's so much you can do to help manage your stress. The amount of stress we live with is simply not what we were designed to handle. So the overall message is stress can make you fatter, but you can eat well, sleep well, move, and practice your relaxation. So the power is with you. Okay, thank you.